Have you ever felt that life's most powerful secrets are deliberately kept from you? That somewhere, hidden between ancient texts and whispered traditions, lies knowledge so transformative it could completely reshape your reality in just 24 hours? I stumbled upon something recently that I simply can't keep to myself. A collection of wisdom so profound, yet so carefully guarded, that it's been labeled forbidden by those who fear its power. This isn't some fairy tale or empty promise. This is about unlocking the genuine force that resides within your mind and spirit, waiting to be activated. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. Has this ever happened to you? You follow all the conventional advice, do everything right, yet still feel stuck in the same patterns, the same limitations, the same frustrating results. That's because conventional wisdom only scratches the surface of what's truly possible. The knowledge I'm about to share doesn't rely on childish notions of magic or supernatural shortcuts. What makes it seem forbidden is how drastically it challenges everything we've been taught about our capabilities and the nature of reality itself. This is about a tangible power, a force of mind and spirit that operates according to precise principles, just as reliable as gravity once you understand them. Stay with me until the end, because what separates those who transform their lives with this knowledge from those who dismiss it isn't intelligence or privilege. It's simply faith and commitment, the willingness to apply these principles without reservation, with the full force of your belief behind them. I've seen people transform financial disasters into abundance, heal relationships everyone had written off as hopeless, and access levels of personal fulfillment that seemed impossible, all within 24 hours of correctly applying these principles. What you're about to discover might surprise you, because it contradicts much of what we've been conditioned to accept as truth. The most profound revelations often do. This forbidden knowledge has been hidden, not because it's dangerous, but because it's powerful. It transfers control from external authorities back to you, where it rightfully belongs. The question isn't whether this power exists. It undeniably does, and has been harnessed by a select few throughout history. The real question is, are you ready to join them? Are you prepared to step beyond the boundaries of conventional thinking and embrace knowledge that most will never have the courage to consider? Before you leave, make sure to subscribe right now so you don't miss the next part of this powerful revelation. It might be the key that changes everything for you. Let me take you deeper into what this forbidden book actually contains and why its application has the potential to completely transform your life in ways you might find difficult to imagine right now. The forbidden book offers a principle so simple that it's often overlooked, but capable of transforming your reality. Life is compared to a river, where those with the secret compass can guide it to their desired shore. This compass isn't something physical you can hold. It's the understanding that your mind operates like the most sophisticated quantum computer ever created. The ancient masters knew what modern neuroscience is only beginning to confirm. Your thoughts shape your experience of reality in ways more profound than most people ever realize. Think about this revelation. Every thought you entertain is essentially programming your personal reality. The wealthy elite understand this mechanism intuitively. They don't waste mental energy on worry or doubt, because they recognize these as corrupted code in their mental operating system. Instead, they direct their thoughts with precision, creating blueprints of success before taking a single action in the physical world. The hidden truth that most personal development programs miss is that visualization isn't just a nice relaxation technique. It's actually the primary creative process. When you visualize with emotional intensity, you're not daydreaming. You're literally reshaping the quantum field of possibilities around you. Billionaires don't just plan differently than others, they think differently at a fundamental level. What's particularly fascinating is how this mental architecture creates synchronicities that seem like luck to outside observers. Have you noticed how certain people seem to always be in the right place at the right time? This isn't coincidence. It's the natural outcome of aligned thought patterns functioning at optimal capacity. Your mind is constantly broadcasting intentions into the universe, but most people are transmitting on random, conflicting frequencies. The journey to mastering this principle requires understanding that uncertainty isn't your enemy. It's actually the canvas upon which you paint your desires. Most people fear the unknown, but those with this knowledge embrace it as pure potential. This perspective shift alone can dramatically transform how opportunities appear in your life. One of the most powerful revelations from this forbidden knowledge is that time itself is more flexible than we've been taught. While most people view time as a linear progression that happens to them, masters of manifestation understand that psychological time, your perception and relationship with past, present, and future, can be consciously manipulated to accelerate results. The mindset transformation begins with recognizing that what you pay attention to literally grows in your experience. This is why the wealthy elite are incredibly disciplined about their information diet and the conversations they entertain. They instinctively protect their mental environment like a billionaire protects their assets with vigilance and strategic intent. Behind the scenes of every great fortune is this same pattern, a mind trained to reject limitation and embrace possibility. The most successful entrepreneurs don't just work harder, they operate from an entirely different set of assumptions about what's possible. They've reprogrammed their subconscious to recognize opportunities that remain invisible to those operating with conventional thinking. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how this principle applies to your daily decision-making process. The invisible force that determines whether you'll achieve extraordinary results or remain frustrated isn't just about positive thinking. It's about understanding the mechanics of choice architecture and how small decisions compound into magnificent outcomes or disappointing results. If you're resonating with what I'm sharing so far, type "I'm reprogramming my reality" in the comments below. Every word we speak to ourselves has power, more power than most of us realize. When I first encountered this teaching, I thought it sounded too simple. Change my inner dialogue and my external reality shifts. But the more I explored this principle, the more I witnessed its profound truth unfolding in my life and in the lives of countless students. Your inner dialogue operates like specialized software running constantly in the background. This mental programming determines what opportunities you notice, what actions feel possible, and how you interpret every experience in your life. Most people underestimate this relationship, believing external circumstances dictate their internal state. The reality behind this transformation process works precisely in reverse. Think about it. When you tell yourself, "I can't afford that," your mind immediately stops looking for creative solutions. Declare, "I'm not good at math," and your brain actively resists mathematical concepts. These aren't just harmless observations. They're powerful commands to your subconscious, instructing it to maintain these limitations as truth. This is why half-hearted attempts at manifesting or visualization practices often fail. You can't speak abundance for 20 minutes during meditation while running scarcity programs the other 23 hours of your day. The dominant dialogue always wins. The hidden truth is that your mind cannot distinguish between a habitual thought you've repeated for years and objective reality. It accepts both equally as instructions for creating your experience. I've guided students through this journey of inner transformation for years now, and the pattern is unmistakable. Those who commit to monitoring and adjusting their inner dialogue experience breakthroughs that often appear miraculous to outside observers. But there's nothing supernatural occurring, just the natural impact of aligning your internal programming with your desires. The path requires dedication because these thought patterns have deep roots. Your current mental habits weren't formed overnight. They're the result of decades of repetition, cultural conditioning, and personal experiences. Changing them demands consistent awareness and correction. This explains why casual practitioners see minimal results. They're attempting to overturn decades of programming with occasional positive affirmations. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring what happens physiologically when you begin to shift your inner dialogue. Your nervous system responds to your thoughts as if they were actual events. Tell yourself something is impossible, and your body releases stress hormones that inhibit creative thinking. Declare something achievable, and your brain activates different neural pathways that support problem-solving and opportunity recognition. Remember that your inner dialogue isn't just about positive versus negative thinking. It's about creating thought patterns that align with the reality you wish to experience. The words you choose matter tremendously. "I'm learning to become wealthy" creates a fundamentally different neural pattern than "I'm trying to stop being broke." Both may seem to aim toward the same goal, but they program your mind in completely opposite directions. The revelation that transforms most students' practice comes when they realize they don't need to believe their new thoughts immediately. You simply need to speak them consistently. Your subconscious mind responds to repetition more strongly than to conviction. Through consistent repetition, what once felt like a foreign concept gradually becomes your default perspective. This principle applies beyond material manifestation. Every relationship, health outcome, and creative endeavor in your life is shaped by the words you speak to yourself about. These areas, the quality of your life experience emerges directly from the quality of your inner conversation. If you're nodding along as you hear this because it resonates with what you've experienced in your own life, type "My words create my world" in the comments below. This perspective on returning to a childlike state while maintaining our adult awareness is truly revolutionary when you think about it. Children naturally possess what many of us struggle to reclaim, an unshakable belief in possibilities. They haven't yet built the mental barriers we've constructed through years of disappointment and societal conditioning. Their reality is fluid, malleable, and open to magic in ways we've forgotten. But here's the beautiful revelation that transforms this concept. We don't need to sacrifice our maturity or wisdom to recapture this power. Instead, we're invited to create a powerful fusion, combining the boundless faith of childhood with the focused intention and awareness of adulthood. This integration creates something far more potent than either state alone. When we examine the 24-hour repetition exercise, we're witnessing this principle in action. The practice isn't merely about mindless repetition, it's a deliberate journey back to that space where words and thoughts shape reality. Think about the underlying psychology at work here. Repetition bypasses the critical, doubtful mind that's developed over years. It creates new neural pathways that begin to accept what once seemed impossible. Behind this seemingly simple technique lies a profound understanding of how our minds construct reality. When we repeat a powerful phrase consistently for 24 hours, we're essentially reprogramming our subconscious operating system. We're creating what psychologists might call a cognitive override, interrupting our default patterns of thought and establishing new ones. What's fascinating about this approach is how it aligns with recent discoveries about neuroplasticity, our brain's remarkable ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections. The journey of manifestation isn't just metaphysical, it's also rooted in the tangible transformations happening within our physical brain structure. I've witnessed the hidden impact of this practice in my own life. There's something almost ceremonial about committing to repeat a phrase for a full day cycle. It becomes a declaration to the universe, yes, but more importantly, it becomes a declaration to yourself. You're signaling to every part of your being that this new belief matters enough to become your focus for an entire day. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You'll want to be here when the next secret drops and your 24-hour transformation begins. The revelation many discover is that manifestation isn't about forcing the external world to bend to our will. It's about aligning our internal world with what we seek to create. The repetition exercise serves as a bridge between these worlds, connecting intention with outcome through the power of focused awareness. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how this practice creates a foundation for lasting change beyond just the initial 24 hours. Because while that first intensive practice is powerful, it's really just the beginning of a much more profound journey toward conscious creation. If any of these ideas about returning to childlike belief while maintaining adult awareness resonate with you, write in the comments, "I'm reclaiming my power to believe." I'd love to know how many of you are ready to embrace this transformative mindset. When we commit to a daily practice of prosperity thinking, we initiate a fundamental shift in our energy field. This isn't just positive thinking, it's a recalibration of our entire relationship with the universe. What fascinates me about this transformation is how it operates beneath our conscious awareness, gradually reshaping our perception of what's possible in our lives. Think about the last time you caught yourself in a scarcity thought pattern. Perhaps you worried about not having enough time, money, or opportunities. In that moment, you were literally instructing the universe to manifest more of that lack. The revelation here is that prosperity consciousness functions as a form of spiritual technology, a method of reprogramming the very fabric of your reality through intentional thought patterns. The journey from scarcity to abundance rarely follows a straight line. Many of us experience what I call abundance resistance, those moments when we intellectually embrace prosperity principles but emotionally cling to our familiar scarcity narratives. This internal conflict creates a vibrational inconsistency that the universe cannot easily respond to. Your mindset becomes the gatekeeper determining which opportunities can enter your experience. What's particularly powerful about the daily challenges presented in the book is how they systematically dismantle these resistance points. When you deliberately replace thoughts like, "I can't afford this," with, "How can I afford this?" You're not simply changing words, you're activating different neural pathways and energetic frequencies. This subtle shift opens doorways to possibilities that were always present, but previously hidden from your awareness. Behind the scenes of this practice is the fundamental principle that energy flows where attention goes. Each time you redirect your focus from limitation to possibility, you're making a declaration to the universe about what you're ready to receive. I've witnessed countless individuals experience breakthrough moments after maintaining these practices for just 30 days, often discovering unexpected income sources, creative solutions, or synchronistic encounters that perfectly aligned with their newly established prosperity consciousness. One hidden truth that many miss is that prosperity consciousness doesn't just impact your financial reality, it permeates every aspect of your life. When you begin viewing the world through the lens of abundance rather than scarcity, your relationships improve, your health often stabilizes, and your creative expression expands. This happens because you've removed the energetic blocks that were constraining the natural flow of universal energy through all dimensions of your experience. The mental discipline required for this work shouldn't be underestimated. Our subconscious minds have been conditioned by years, often decades, of scarcity programming from family patterns, media consumption, and cultural narratives. Each deliberate thought of abundance is a revolutionary act, challenging these deeply embedded limitations. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how prosperity consciousness creates tangible changes in your external circumstances. When we examine the mechanics of manifestation, we discover that our thoughts create energetic templates that the physical world eventually conforms to. This process requires both patience and unwavering focus. The most effective practitioners maintain their prosperity consciousness even when external evidence suggests scarcity. This steadfastness is what eventually tips the scales, bringing your physical reality into alignment with your internal vision. If you've been resonating with these concepts as I've been explaining them, type "abundance flows to me" in the comments below. The book encourages something truly fascinating: the simple act of repeating a phrase throughout your day as a kind of spiritual breather. It's not about mechanical repetition, but rather creating deliberate pauses in your consciousness, where you invite a new perspective to take root. These moments become like tiny doorways through which a different reality can emerge. What makes this approach so powerful is its subtlety. The initial changes won't announce themselves with trumpets and fanfare. Instead, they arrive like whispers. Perhaps you'll notice a slight sense of calm where anxiety once lived, or you'll find yourself responding differently to a situation that would have previously triggered you. Some people report unexpected opportunities suddenly appearing, as if the universe is responding to this new frequency you're broadcasting. These small shifts represent the beginning of a profound inner transformation. Think of it like planting seeds in a garden. At first, nothing seems to be happening on the surface, but beneath the soil, an entire ecosystem is reorganizing itself. Your consciousness works in a similar way when you introduce these new thought patterns regularly. I've noticed in my own journey that these moments of change often go unrecognized because we're conditioned to look for dramatic breakthroughs. But true lasting change rarely happens in explosive moments. It's built through these consistent, smaller shifts that gradually reconstruct our relationship with reality. The book suggests that our normal waking consciousness is just one of many possible states, and these repeated phrases help us access alternative states where different rules apply. It's similar to how certain frequencies can cause physical materials to reorganize themselves. Think of how sound waves can create geometric patterns in sand on a vibrating plate. What's particularly interesting is how this practice begins to dissolve the artificial boundary between what we consider inner work and outer reality. We're taught to see these as separate domains, but this approach reveals how permeable that boundary actually is. Your thoughts aren't just private experiences. They're active ingredients in the construction of your lived experience. Many people mistake this for a purely psychological technique, but it operates at a deeper level where consciousness and reality interface. This is where science and spirituality begin to converge. Quantum physics increasingly suggests that observation affects reality, and ancient wisdom traditions have always maintained that consciousness is fundamental to existence. The beauty of this approach is its accessibility. You don't need special training or equipment. Just the willingness to interrupt your habitual thought patterns with intentional new ones. The phrase itself becomes like a key that unlocks alternative possibilities, allowing you to step into a parallel version of your life that was always available but previously inaccessible. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how these subtle changes gradually compound and eventually reach tipping points where transformation becomes undeniable. The journey isn't linear. It follows patterns that might surprise you. If this perspective on consciousness as a creative force resonates with your experiences, write "Consciousness creates" in the comments below. Action is indeed crucial when these signs appear, because they truly act as portals that shouldn't be ignored. Many people ask me, but how do I know the difference between a genuine sign and my imagination? Here's the revelation that transformed my own journey. Your internal certainty is the compass. When a sign resonates with such clarity that you feel it in your core, that's your intuition speaking its truth. I've seen this pattern repeatedly with clients who achieved remarkable transformations. They didn't just passively receive signs. They created a dynamic relationship with the universe. Think of it as a conversation rather than a monologue. The universe whispers, you respond, and the dialogue deepens with each exchange. Let me share something that rarely gets discussed in manifestation circles. The power of decisive action creates ripple effects beyond what we can consciously perceive. When you take action based on a sign, you're essentially telling the universe, I'm paying attention, I'm engaged, and I'm committed. This commitment, energy, is what separates casual wishers from powerful manifestors. Behind the scenes of every successful manifestation is this hidden truth. Manifestation isn't just about attracting what you want, it's about becoming the person who naturally receives it. This mindset shift is subtle yet profound. You're not just waiting for signs. You're actively participating in their creation through your state of being. Consider what happens on a quantum level when you feel absolute certainty about something. You're manifesting. That feeling creates a magnetic field that literally attracts corresponding particles and events. Scientists are only beginning to understand what ancient wisdom traditions have taught for millennia. Our consciousness shapes our reality in tangible ways. The impact of embodying this certainty can't be overstated. When you move through the world with unshakable inner knowing, people respond differently to you. Opportunities appear that weren't visible before. Decisions become clearer. This isn't magical thinking. It's a practical application of energy principles that govern our universe. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring what happens when you encounter contradictory signs. Because let's be honest, the path isn't always clear. Sometimes we receive mixed messages that leave us confused rather than certain. This confusion isn't a failure of the process. It's an invitation to develop greater discernment. What separates masterful manifestors from beginners is their ability to interpret the nuances of signs. They understand that sometimes a negative sign isn't indicating no, it's redirecting you to a better path. This level of interpretation requires presence and patience, qualities that grow stronger with practice. Consider journaling about your signs and synchronicities. Track them diligently. Over time, you'll notice patterns emerging, patterns unique to your personal dialogue with the universe. Some people receive guidance through numbers, others through animal encounters, still others through recurring dreams. The language of signs is personalized to you, which is why copying someone else's manifestation technique wholesale rarely yields the same results. The journey of working with signs involves embracing both structure and surrender, a delicate balance that evolves as you develop your manifestation muscles. You create structure through your intentions and actions while surrendering to the timing and form of how things unfold. If what I'm sharing resonates with your experiences, type "Signs speak to me" in the comments so I know we're connecting on this deeper level of understanding. When you're fully aligned with abundance, something fascinating happens with your perception of time. The book reveals this subtle but profound shift that most manifestation teachers never mention. It's not that time literally speeds up, but rather that your relationship with it transforms. Think about those moments when you're in a state of flow, completely immersed in something you love, hours pass like minutes. Conversely, when you're in a state of lack or resistance, waiting for something to manifest, time seems to crawl painfully slow. This isn't just psychological, it's vibrational. The universe operates on energetic principles, not linear time as we understand it. When your vibrational state matches the frequency of what you desire, you enter a sort of quantum slipstream where opportunities and synchronicities arrive with stunning rapidity. It's as though you're riding the crest of a wave rather than swimming against the current. I experienced this firsthand when I shifted my mindset around financial abundance. For years, I had been stuck in a pattern of working harder and harder, constantly chasing the next dollar. Time felt like my enemy. There was never enough of it. But when I began practicing the principles in manifestation mastery, I noticed a remarkable shift. Suddenly, perfect opportunities began appearing at precisely the right moments. Business connections I'd been pursuing for months materialized effortlessly. Revenue streams I hadn't even considered opened up. This is what the author means by time accelerating favorably. It's not about rushing or hurrying, quite the opposite. It's about entering a state where divine timing works for you rather than against you. The journey toward your desires becomes as fulfilling as the destination itself. There's a hidden truth here that reveals the paradoxical nature of manifestation. When you're desperately wanting something to appear in your life, you're actually pushing it away with your energy of need and lack. You're telling the universe, I don't have this thing. And the universe, which responds to your dominant vibration, simply echoes back, yes, you don't have this thing. The transformation happens when you release the attachment to time. When you trust that what you desire is already yours in energetic form and is making its way to you through the path of least resistance. This subtle shift from wanting to having in your consciousness creates a completely different vibrational signature. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how this vibration of abundance actually restructures your neural pathways. The brain doesn't distinguish between what you're physically experiencing and what you're vividly imagining with emotional intensity. When you consistently practice feeling abundant, regardless of current circumstances, you're literally rewiring your brain to recognize and attract more abundance. This isn't just spiritual teaching, it's backed by neuroplasticity research. Your brain forms new neural connections based on repeated thoughts and experiences. By deliberately cultivating feelings of abundance daily, you're creating what neuroscientists call attractive neural networks that begin to filter your perception, helping you notice opportunities you might have previously missed. The revelation that surprised me most in this section of the book was how abundance manifestation isn't just about what you gain, but also about what you're willing to release. Old stories, limiting beliefs, and comfortable excuses must be surrendered to make space for your new reality. This internal letting go creates energetic space for new experiences to enter. If you're resonating with these concepts about time and abundance, type "Time flows with me" in the comments. I'm curious how many of you have noticed this shift in your own manifestation journey. These powerful cosmic forces aren't just abstract concepts, they're practical tools waiting for you to engage with them. The acceleration of time we're experiencing is like catching a powerful wave. You can either let it crash over you, leaving you disoriented and gasping for air, or you can surf it with intention, using its momentum to propel yourself forward. When I first began consciously working with temporal acceleration, I noticed something remarkable happening in my journey. Projects that once stretched endlessly began condensing into manageable timeframes. The key transformation wasn't just external, it was internal. My relationship with time itself shifted. Instead of seeing it as an adversary constantly slipping away, I recognized it as a concentrated force that could be directed with intention. This isn't about magical thinking, it's about alignment with natural rhythms that are already in motion. The universe is expanding at an accelerating rate, and similarly, our experience of time continues to compress. The hidden truth is that most people are overwhelmed by this acceleration because they're trying to resist it rather than harmonize with it. Consider how many ancient wisdom traditions speak of cycles and epochs, periods of acceleration and deceleration. What's fascinating is how modern physics has begun to echo these ancient insights through concepts like time dilation and the relative nature of temporal experience. Creating that detailed vision I mentioned earlier isn't just a planning exercise, it's a calibration of your consciousness to the frequency of acceleration. When you define with crystal clarity what you desire, you're essentially creating a pathway for accelerated manifestation. The universe responds to specificity, not vague wishes. The mental decluttering process is equally crucial. Think of it as creating bandwidth for faster downloads. When your mental space is congested with worries, distractions, and scattered focus, you're essentially trying to run high-definition desires through a dial-up connection. The breakthrough comes when you create a clean mental environment that can process accelerated manifestation. One revelation that changed everything for me was understanding that acceleration isn't about doing more things, it's about aligning with the right things. When you're in harmony with your authentic path, time seems to bend in your favor. Opportunities cluster, resources appear, and synchronicities multiply. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how this acceleration phenomenon interfaces with your daily choices and habits. The decisions you make hour by hour either amplify or dampen your ability to harness temporal acceleration. What most people don't realize is that there's an intimate connection between your energy management and your capacity to compress time. Behind the scenes of every accelerated achievement is a person who has learned to calibrate their energy to match the velocity of their vision. This isn't about exhausting yourself through constant activity. Paradoxically, it's often about creating strategic stillness that allows you to move with greater speed when action is required. The impact of understanding these principles extends far beyond just accomplishing goals faster. It fundamentally transforms your experience of living. Time becomes an ally rather than an adversary. Deadlines become exciting convergence points rather than sources of stress. The journey itself takes on a different quality, one of flow rather than struggle. If what I've shared resonates with your own experiences or intuitions about time, write in the comments. Time is on my side. I'm curious to hear how you've been experiencing this acceleration in your own life. When you harness the law of the void, something almost magical happens to your manifestation journey. I've noticed this phenomenon countless times in my own life. Every deliberate action you take doesn't just move you forward. It creates an energetic vacuum that naturally pulls in new opportunities. This is why sometimes when you finally let go of something that no longer serves you, whether it's a relationship, job, or belief system, unexpected blessings rush in to fill that space. The acceleration phase is where many people stumble in their manifestation practice. During these moments when energy is building rapidly, your thoughts become particularly potent. The book emphasizes maintaining focus on beneficial thoughts, specifically during these acceleration periods, for good reason. Think of it like steering a fast-moving vehicle. The faster you're going, the more consequential each small adjustment becomes. When manifestation energy accelerates, even fleeting doubts can create significant detours if you're not mindful. I discovered this hidden truth through personal experience. During a period of rapid transformation in my career, I noticed how my momentary anxieties would manifest almost immediately as small obstacles. When I disciplined myself to maintain positive expectation, even when things were moving quickly and felt uncertain, the results were dramatically different. The universe seemed to conspire in my favor, bringing resources and connections at precisely the right moments. This brings us to the concept of energetic alignment that most manifestation teachers rarely discuss. The void. You create isn't just passive space, it's an active invitation. When you deliberately release what no longer serves your journey, you're not just making room, you're sending a powerful signal about what you're ready to receive. The universe responds to this clarity with remarkable precision. I want to go even deeper into this topic by examining how your emotional state affects this void-filling process. Your emotions act as the vibrational signature that determines what fills the void you've created. When you maintain hope, gratitude, and excited anticipation during periods of change, you magnetize positive outcomes aligned with those frequencies. This is why the book's emphasis on beneficial thoughts isn't just positive psychology, it's practical energetic management. Consider the impact of your daily decisions through this lens. Each choice either expands or contracts the void. When you choose courage over comfort, when you select growth over familiarity, you dramatically increase the size of the void, creating more space for manifestation to work its magic. Small, consistent decisions compound over time, creating a momentum that can completely transform your reality. The manifestation journey requires this delicate balance of intentional action and receptive surrender. You must be willing to make bold moves while simultaneously trusting the process. This paradox reveals why many struggle with manifestation. They're either all action without receptivity or all waiting, without decisive movement. The secret lies in the dance between these seemingly contradictory approaches. What rarely gets discussed about manifestation is how personal this calibration must be. Your unique energy system, life circumstances, and spiritual maturity all influence how you should balance action with surrender. This isn't a one-size-fits-all formula, which is why deep self-awareness becomes crucial for effective manifestation work. If anything in this discussion resonates with your experiences, type "I'm creating powerful voids" in the comments below. Now, I want to explore how this understanding of the void principle can be practically applied to accelerate your manifestation results. The vibrational landscape of your reality works much like water flowing downhill. It will always find the path of least resistance. When you maintain higher vibrational frequencies, these pathways become smoother, wider, and more direct. It's like upgrading from a rocky, meandering creek to a powerful, flowing river. The energy simply moves faster and with greater momentum. This is why people who consistently work on their mindset and energy often report that synchronicities and opportunities appear to multiply in their lives. They're not necessarily being blessed with more luck than others. They've simply created energetic conditions where manifestation can occur with less resistance. Let me share a revelation that transformed my understanding of this process. When I consistently maintained higher vibrations through daily practices for several months, I noticed that manifestations weren't just appearing faster. They were arriving in unexpected packages and through surprising channels. It wasn't simply acceleration, it was a fundamental shift in how reality responded to my intentions. The hidden truth here is that your vibrational state doesn't just affect the speed of manifestation, it completely transforms the mechanisms through which your desires materialize. Think of it like switching from dial-up internet to fiber optic broadband. It's not just faster, it's an entirely different technology delivering your content. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring the crucial aspect of action alignment, because maintaining high vibration alone isn't the complete formula. Your physical actions need to harmonize with your energetic intentions. This creates what I call resonant momentum, where your visible choices and invisible energies reinforce each other. When you take practical steps that align with your vibrational state, you provide real-world pathways for your intentions to flow through. For instance, if you're holding the vibration of abundance, taking action to organize your finances, invest wisely, or create new income streams provides concrete channels for that abundance to manifest. This journey of alignment isn't always straightforward. Sometimes, paradoxically, the fastest acceleration comes after periods of apparent standstill. Many spiritual teachers call these phases integration periods, when the seeds of intention germinate underground before breaking through the surface. During these times, continuing aligned action, despite seeing no visible progress, is what ultimately creates breakthrough momentum. The impact of persistence cannot be overstated. Vibrational shifts often unfold like compound interest. Minimal visible change at first, followed by exponential growth. Many abandon their practices just before this tipping point, missing the transformation that lay just beyond their patience threshold. Behind the scenes of every seeming overnight success lies this same pattern: consistent vibrational maintenance paired with aligned action, often for longer than most would persevere. The river of manifestation doesn't usually change course dramatically in a day. It gradually carves new pathways until suddenly the entire flow shifts. What's fascinating is how this principle applies universally, whether in spiritual practice, career development, relationship building, or health transformation. The underlying mechanism remains consistent across all domains of human experience. If you've experienced this acceleration effect in your own life, that moment when everything suddenly clicked into place after consistent effort, write breakthrough moment in the comments. I'd love to hear about your personal tipping points on this journey of vibrational alignment. But what truly separates the miracle morning from other manifestation methods is its approach to gratitude as an active process. When Hal Elrod talks about appreciating even the smallest signs of progress, he's tapping into a powerful psychological framework that rewires how our brains perceive reality. There's a profound transformation that happens when we stop treating manifestation as a magical trick and embrace it as a lifestyle commitment. I've discovered through my own journey that most people struggle with manifestation because they treat it like ordering from a cosmic menu: make your request and wait for delivery. But this fundamental misunderstanding creates disappointment and abandonment of the practice altogether. The hidden truth is that manifestation isn't something you do occasionally, it's something you become. Think of it this way: an athlete doesn't become exceptional by practicing once a month. They integrate their training into every aspect of their life. Their nutrition, sleep patterns, mental preparation, and daily habits. Similarly, manifestation requires this level of integration into your everyday existence. The book brilliantly illuminates how conscious repetition creates neural pathways that eventually become automatic. What's fascinating is how this connects to recent neuroscience research about neuroplasticity. Our brains are constantly being shaped by our thoughts and experiences. When you consistently engage in visualization, affirmations, and gratitude during that sacred morning hour, you're literally rewiring your neural circuitry. This isn't mystical thinking. It's backed by scientific evidence about how persistent thought patterns physically reshape our brains. I've witnessed this ripple effect in my own experience. When I began dedicating those first moments after waking to intentional practice, I noticed subtle shifts in my perception throughout the day. Opportunities I might have previously overlooked suddenly appeared. Obvious connections between seemingly random events became clear. This heightened awareness didn't happen overnight. It emerged gradually through consistent practice. The journey of manifestation comes with an important revelation. Patience is not just a virtue, it's a necessity. We live in a culture obsessed with immediate results, but true transformation follows nature's timeline, not our impatient demands. Just as a farmer cannot rush the growth of crops by pulling on their stems, we cannot force manifestation by demanding instant outcomes. What's perhaps most impactful about the Miracle Morning framework is how it creates a sanctuary of intention before the chaos of daily life begins. This protected space allows you to establish your vibrational frequency for the day. Think about it. How different would your life be if you consciously set your emotional and mental state before checking emails or social media? Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring the resistance that inevitably arises when implementing this practice. Because let's be honest, committing to waking up earlier isn't always easy, especially at first. There's a reason why so many personal development practices begin with enthusiasm but fizzle out within weeks. Understanding the psychology behind this resistance is crucial for creating sustainable change. If you're recognizing these principles in your own experience, type "Morning Miracle" in the comments section. I'd love to know who among you is embracing this transformative approach to starting your day. The metaphor of the gardener in this context is profoundly insightful. Think about it. Gardeners don't force plants to grow by yanking on their stems. They create optimal conditions, provide nourishment, remove obstacles, and then trust in the natural process. This is exactly how we should approach our relationship with abundance. When we wake up each morning and immediately dive into notifications, emails, and the demands of others, we're essentially allowing external forces to dictate our energy flow. But what if we approached each day like a master gardener tends to their prized garden? This subtle shift in perspective creates a powerful transformation in how abundance manifests in our lives. The routine described in the book isn't just another self-help technique, it's a practical framework for energetic alignment. By taking those first precious moments of consciousness each day to visualize our desired outcomes and express genuine gratitude for what's already present, we're essentially watering the seeds of our intentions. We're creating those optimal conditions where abundance can naturally flourish. What's fascinating is how this process works on multiple dimensions simultaneously. On the surface level, it trains your reticular activating system, the part of your brain that filters relevance, to notice opportunities aligned with your intentions. But on a deeper energetic level, it's actually fine-tuning your vibrational frequency to become receptive to the abundance that's already present in the universal field. The hidden truth many miss is that this isn't about creating abundance from nothing. It's about removing the barriers we've unconsciously placed between ourselves and the natural state of abundance that already exists. Every time you practice visualization with emotional intensity, you're essentially clearing pathways in your energy field, allowing abundance to flow through channels that were previously blocked. I've personally witnessed remarkable shifts in my own journey through consistent application of these principles. There's something profoundly different about approaching your day from this centered place of intention rather than reaction. It's like the difference between being carried away by a rushing river versus consciously navigating your boat downstream. One particularly compelling revelation is how this practice builds upon itself. The gratitude aspect creates an upward spiral of awareness. The more you acknowledge abundance in your life, the more sensitized you become to recognizing it in increasingly subtle forms. This heightened awareness then amplifies your ability to notice and receive even more abundance, creating a self-reinforcing cycle. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how these daily practices actually restructure our subconscious beliefs about worthiness and receptivity. Many of us carry hidden programs that subtly sabotage our ability to receive abundance freely. These morning rituals work directly with these subconscious patterns, gradually replacing limitation with expansion. The consistency element cannot be overstated. Just as a garden doesn't transform overnight, these abundance portals open progressively through faithful tending. There will be days when you don't feel like practicing, when results seem distant or even non-existent. This is precisely when your practice matters most. Those challenging moments are opportunities for the deepest rewiring of your relationship with abundance. If what I'm describing resonates with your experience or something you're aspiring toward, write "tending my garden" in the comments below. The fascinating aspect of the reality mirror practice is how it gradually transforms from a conscious effort into an automatic process. Think about it. When you first began learning to drive, you had to think about every single movement. Where to place your hands, how far to press the pedal, when to check your mirrors. But now, you drive while carrying on conversations, planning your day, or enjoying music. The conscious became unconscious. This same transformation happens with the reality mirror technique. At first, you'll need to intentionally pause throughout your day, checking in with your thoughts and redirecting negative patterns. But as you continue this practice, something remarkable begins to unfold. Your mind starts doing this work automatically, often without you even realizing it. This is the hidden journey of neural rewiring that few discuss. Your brain literally creates new pathways, new connections that become your default mode of operating. Scientists call this neuroplasticity, but I prefer to think of it as mental alchemy, the transformation of thought patterns from lead to gold. What makes this practice particularly powerful is its compound effect. Each positive reflection doesn't just affect the moment you're in. It creates ripples that extend outward, touching various aspects of your life in ways you might not immediately recognize. Like dropping a pebble in a pond, the circles continue expanding long after the initial impact. I've witnessed this transformation in my own life. There was a period when I struggled with persistent financial worry. Every bill, every unexpected expense would trigger a cascade of anxiety. Through consistent application of the reality mirror technique, I began to shift how I viewed these situations. Instead of seeing bills as drains, I reframed them as evidence of services and comforts I was fortunate to have. Instead of fearing expenses, I began appreciating the resources I had to handle them. The profound revelation came not when my financial situation dramatically changed overnight, but when I noticed my automatic response to financial matters had shifted entirely. The anxiety had been replaced with calm assessment. The fear had transformed into strategic thinking. This wasn't because I consciously talked myself into it each time. My brain had created new default pathways. What's particularly interesting is how this mental shift began affecting my actual financial decisions. I started making clearer choices, identifying opportunities I previously would have been too anxious to see, and taking measured risks that ultimately improved my situation. The mirror had indeed become reality. Now I want to go even deeper into this topic and explore how the reality mirror practice intersects with the environments we create around ourselves. There's a fascinating feedback loop between our internal thought patterns and our external surroundings that, when properly understood, can accelerate your results dramatically. If this mirror effect resonates with your experiences, write in the comments, "My mirror is reflecting," so I know we're on the same wavelengths with this concept. Life's most profound shifts often emerge from simple, daily practices. When we talk about setting intentions each morning, we're not just performing a routine, we're actively programming our awareness. What happens is remarkable. Our brains begin filtering reality through the lens of our intentions. That job opportunity you suddenly notice, that perfect book recommendation that appears at just the right moment. These aren't merely coincidences, they've likely always been there. But your conscious intention made them visible against the background noise of everyday life. This perceptual transformation mirrors what happens when you decide to purchase a new car. Suddenly you notice that same model everywhere on the roads. The cars were always there. Your awareness simply sharpened toward what became personally meaningful. This same mechanism works with your deepest aspirations and goals. The evening review process creates a powerful feedback loop in this journey. By reflecting on moments when your intentions manifested, you're essentially reinforcing neural pathways that recognize opportunity and alignment. You're training yourself to notice the hidden patterns that have always existed around you but remained invisible without your focused attention. What's fascinating about synchronicities, those meaningful coincidences that seem too perfect to be random, is that they often reveal the underlying interconnectedness of our reality. Carl Jung, who coined the term, believed these events reveal moments when our inner psychological state aligns with external circumstances. The skeptic dismisses them as mere statistical inevitabilities, but those who pay attention often discover they contain precisely the guidance needed at critical junctures. Behind the scenes of our conscious awareness, our subconscious mind processes millions of data points. When we set clear intentions, we're essentially directing this powerful background processor towards specific patterns and possibilities. The universe hasn't necessarily changed. Our relationship with it has. This practice gradually reshapes your identity. You begin experiencing yourself not as someone passively acted upon by life, but as an active participant in a responsive universe. This mindset shift alone can trigger remarkable changes in your external circumstances. The real revelation comes when you recognize that time itself seems to bend around intention. Projects long stalled suddenly find momentum. People who can help appear at precisely the right moment. Resources materialize when needed most, not through magic, but through the natural convergence of preparation and opportunity, now visible through your intention-sharpened awareness. What often blocks this natural flow is our tendency to dismiss subtle guidance. We're conditioned to require absolute certainty before acting, yet the most significant growth typically arrives through following gentle nudges and intuitive hints. The masters of manifestation aren't those with supernatural powers. They're simply individuals who've learned to trust and act upon these subtle signals. Now I want to go even deeper into this practice by exploring how intention setting creates a unique kind of clarity that affects not just your perception, but the actual quality of your decisions. When you begin each day by connecting with purpose, you establish an internal compass that guides countless small choices throughout your day. These seemingly minor decisions, what conversations to engage in, which opportunities deserve your energy, when to persist versus when to pivot, collectively shape your destiny far more powerfully than the occasional big decisions we typically obsess over. If any of this resonates with your own experiences of synchronicity and intention, type patterns recognized in the comments. I'd love to know. I'm not alone in noticing these subtle but powerful forces at work in our lives. The magic happens when we connect with others who share similar vibrational frequencies. Think about it. When you surround yourself with allies who believe in your vision, something extraordinary occurs. Your energy doesn't just add up, it multiplies exponentially. This is one of the most transformative revelations in the book, the power of collective consciousness. I've personally witnessed this phenomenon in my own journey. When I began working with people who shared my enthusiasm and positive outlook, projects that once seemed insurmountable suddenly became achievable. It wasn't just about having more hands on deck, it was about creating a resonant field of intention that seemed to magnetize opportunities toward us. The science behind this is fascinating. Quantum physicists have long observed how particles that once interacted remain connected regardless of distance. In much the same way, when we form meaningful connections with others who vibrate at similar frequencies, we create an invisible but powerful web of energy that sustains each participant. This hidden truth explains why certain groups and communities achieve remarkable results, while others struggle, despite having similar resources. The difference lies not in the material plane, but in the vibrational coherence they've established. When a team aligns their energetic signatures, they tap into a reservoir of creative potential that transcends individual limitations. Consider the impact of entering a room full of enthusiastic, positive people versus one filled with cynics and complainers. The difference is palpable, isn't it? That's because you're literally walking into different energetic environments that will either elevate or diminish your own vibration. The book outlines practical steps for cultivating these powerful alliances. It begins with becoming acutely aware of how different relationships affect your energy. Some connections leave you feeling drained, while others invigorate you. This awareness becomes the compass for curating your social environment. Next comes the intentional connection with individuals who resonate with your aspirations. This doesn't mean surrounding yourself only with yes people who never challenge you. Rather, it's about finding those who share your fundamental values and vision, even if their perspectives differ in useful ways. What's particularly illuminating is the ripple effect these connections create. As your collective vibration rises, you naturally attract more like-minded individuals, creating a virtuous cycle of expansion and growth. This explains why successful people often seem to know other successful people. It's a natural manifestation of vibrational alignment. The most profound insight here is that your network isn't just instrumental to your success. It's intrinsically part of who you become. The energetic exchange that occurs through genuine connection shapes your thoughts, beliefs, and ultimately your reality. When you consciously curate these connections, you're essentially co-creating your future experiences. This understanding fundamentally shifts how we approach relationships. Instead of viewing networking as a strategic necessity, we can see it as a sacred practice of energetic communion that enhances everyone involved. Each authentic connection becomes an opportunity for mutual elevation. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how to identify the right vibrational matches for your particular journey and the specific practices that strengthen these connections across space and time. If this perspective on relationships resonates with your own experiences, write in the comments. My tribe elevates me. Skeptics or negative influences should be respectfully acknowledged, but not allowed to derail your journey. I found that the most powerful approach isn't to argue or convince these skeptics, but to simply understand that their perspective comes from their own limitations and experiences. Their doubts often reflect more about their own fears than your capabilities. When I first started pursuing unconventional paths, I encountered plenty of well-meaning friends and family who thought they were protecting me from disappointment. That's not realistic, they'd say, or why not choose something more secure? The transformation happens when you learn to listen without absorbing. Think of it as water rolling off a duck's feathers. You can acknowledge the rain without getting soaked by it. This mindset shift completely changed how I navigated opposition. Instead of feeling defensive or discouraged, I became curious about why they felt that way, while maintaining my internal compass. Cultivating a collective energy of allies acts as a protective shield against negativity. This isn't about surrounding yourself with yes people who never challenge you. That's its own trap. Rather, it's about building relationships with those who support your growth even when they disagree with specific choices. These are people who ask you thought-provoking questions rather than simply telling you what you can't do. The hidden truth I've discovered is that your environment shapes your outcomes far more than willpower alone. Even the most disciplined person will struggle in a toxic environment, while someone with average discipline can thrive in a nurturing one. This environmental impact extends beyond people to include your physical space, the media you consume, and the routines you establish. When I restructured my environment to support my journey, seemingly impossible goals became not just possible but inevitable. I cleared physical clutter that drained my mental energy. I curated my information diet, replacing mindless scrolling with content that expanded my understanding of what's possible. I established morning routines that centered me before the world's demands could scatter my focus. Behind the scenes of every significant achievement is this intentional curation of environment. The most successful people rarely have more willpower than others. They've just mastered the art of creating surroundings that pull them toward their goals rather than push them away. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic and explore how your relationship with uncertainty fundamentally determines your capacity for growth. Most people misunderstand the role of confidence, believing they need to feel certain before taking action. But the real magic happens in the gap between knowing and not knowing, that space where you're willing to step forward without guarantees. The revelations that changed everything for me came when I recognized that discomfort isn't a warning sign to retreat. It's often a compass pointing toward growth. Every meaningful advance in my life has been preceded by a period of uncertainty that I had to navigate without a map. Learning to befriend this uncertainty rather than fight against it unleashed possibilities I couldn't previously imagine. Think about the decisions that have most defined your path so far. Were they made from a place of absolute certainty, or did they require a leap of faith? For most of us, the turning points that mattered most involved stepping into the unknown with courage, rather than waiting for perfect clarity that never comes. If any of this resonates with your own journey, write in the comments. Uncertainty is where growth happens. I'd love to know if this perspective reflects your experience too. True allies enhance your journey with support that is sincere and unconditional. The presence of obstacles is reframed from threats to opportunities for growth and transformation. This perspective shift is at the heart of developing genuine resilience. Not just enduring hardships, but using them as catalysts for becoming stronger versions of ourselves. When we embrace challenges rather than avoid them, something remarkable happens to our mindset. We start seeing patterns that were previously invisible to us. That project delay that initially felt like a failure, it suddenly becomes the perfect opportunity to refine your approach. The relationship that didn't work out, it creates space for connections that better align with your authentic self. This isn't toxic positivity, it's strategic reframing that acknowledges difficulty while extracting value from it. The hidden truth about resilience is that it's not a trait you're born with, but a skill you cultivate through deliberate practice. Think of it as emotional fitness. Training. Just as physical muscles respond to progressive resistance, your capacity for bouncing back strengthens with each challenge you face head-on. The key difference between those who crumble under pressure and those who thrive often comes down to this practice of intentional response rather than reactive emotion. I've witnessed remarkable transformations in people who adopted this resilient mindset. Take Sarah, for example, who lost her corporate job after 15 years. Initially devastated, she began viewing this unexpected change not as the end of her career, but as liberation from a path that no longer served her deepest ambitions. 6 months later, she had launched her own consultancy, doing work that energized rather than depleted her. The layoff became the catalyst for her most meaningful professional chapter. Behind the scenes of every success story is a landscape of setbacks navigated with patience and perspective. When we study history's greatest innovations, we discover that breakthrough moments were preceded by countless failed attempts. Thomas Edison's journey to inventing the practical light bulb involved over 1,000 unsuccessful prototypes. Each attempt wasn't a failure, but a revelation of what didn't work, bringing him closer to what would. This journey toward resilience also involves understanding the relationship between control and surrender. We often waste precious energy trying to control outcomes entirely beyond our influence, while neglecting the areas where we hold genuine power. The wisdom lies in distinguishing between the two. You can't control market fluctuations, but you can control how you prepare for them. You can't control others' actions, but you can control your response. The impact of developing resilience extends far beyond handling crises. It fundamentally changes how you approach everyday life. Decisions become less overwhelming because you trust your ability to adapt, regardless of the outcome. Relationships deepen because you bring a more grounded, less reactive presence. Creative thinking flourishes because you're less constrained by fear of failure or judgment. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by examining how resilience connects to our identity and self-narrative. The stories we tell ourselves about who we are profoundly shape our capacity to bounce back. When we rigidly define ourselves by accomplishments or roles, any threat to those elements feels like an existential crisis. But when we cultivate a more fluid sense of self, one based on core values rather than specific outcomes, we create space for evolution through challenges. If you're resonating with these insights about resilience and personal transformation, write in the comments, "I'm embracing the bounce back." Remember that the 333 angel number isn't just about comforting you through tough times. It's actively reshaping your relationship with time itself. So many of us view time as our enemy, constantly running out, never enough. But when you embrace the message of 3333, you begin to see time as your greatest ally in the manifestation process. Think about it. Those obstacles that once seemed like annoying detours are actually accelerating your progress. Each challenge overcome isn't just a box checked. It's an energetic boost, propelling you toward your desires with greater momentum. This is the hidden transformation that most people miss when they encounter this powerful number. I've witnessed this firsthand with countless clients who initially resisted their challenges. One woman I worked with kept seeing 3333 during a period when her business was struggling. Rather than just taking comfort in the number, she began to view each setback as an opportunity for growth. Within months, her business had evolved into something far more aligned with her true purpose and far more successful than her original vision. This is what I call the alchemical transmutation that 3333 facilitates. Just as ancient alchemists sought to turn base metals into gold, this number teaches us to transform our challenges into our greatest strengths. The process isn't always comfortable, but the results are nothing short of magical. What's particularly fascinating about this aspect of 3333 is how it rewires your neural pathways. Your brain begins to anticipate growth from challenge rather than frustration. This mindset shift alone can dramatically speed up your manifestation timeline, creating a virtuous cycle where each obstacle actually shortens your journey rather than extending it. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how 3333 connects to the concept of divine timing. Many spiritual teachers talk about divine timing as if it's something we must passively accept, waiting around for the universe to decide when we're ready. But the 3333 frequency reveals a more empowering truth. Divine timing isn't about waiting, it's about co-creating. When you align with 3333's energy, you begin participating actively in the unfolding of divine timing. Your actions, decisions, and even your thoughts become synchronized with universal momentum. It's like catching a perfect wave. Suddenly you're moving with a force much greater than yourself, yet you're still steering. This revelation changes everything about how we approach manifestation. Instead of the frustrating start-stop pattern many experience, you enter a flow state where manifestation happens more naturally. The barriers between desire and fulfillment become increasingly permeable as you develop this relationship with time and timing. Consider how this might apply to your own journey. Those moments when synchronicities appear, when you feel inexplicably drawn towards certain opportunities or people, these aren't random. They're evidence of your growing alignment with divine timing, accelerated by your connection to the 33 frequency. If you're experiencing this deeper understanding of time and manifestation in your own life right now, write "divine timing activated" in the comments below. I'd love to hear about your personal experiences with this powerful energy. As we explore this path of conscious creation, it's important to recognize that we're not just talking about manifesting material possessions or surface-level achievements. The true transformation happens at a much deeper level, where your entire perception shifts and realigns with your authentic self. Living consciously means developing an acute awareness of the hidden dialogues happening within your mind. It's about catching yourself in those moments of automatic thinking and asking, is this thought serving my highest good? This level of mindfulness creates a powerful revelation that many miss. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them, the observer who can choose which thoughts to nurture and which to release. When you begin this practice of conscious creation, you'll notice something remarkable happening in your everyday experiences. The situations that once triggered intense emotional reactions start to lose their power over you. That difficult conversation with your boss, the traffic jam that would have ruined your morning, or the unexpected bill that would have sent you spiraling, these external circumstances no longer dictate your internal state. This journey demands courage because it asks you to examine the stories you've been telling yourself, sometimes for decades. Many of these narratives were inherited from family, society, or difficult experiences that convinced you of certain limitations. The decision to question these stories is where your true power emerges. Behind the scenes of every successful life transformation is this fundamental shift in perception. People who have mastered conscious living don't necessarily have fewer problems. They simply respond to them differently. They understand that challenges are not roadblocks, but opportunities for growth and further clarification of what they truly desire. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring the ripple effect that conscious living creates. When you begin operating from this elevated awareness, you naturally impact those around you. Without preaching or pushing your perspectives, you become a living demonstration of what's possible when someone chooses to author their own reality, rather than being written by circumstance. The mindset required for this work isn't one of forceful control, but rather intentional allowing. It's about creating the conditions for your desires to manifest naturally, like a gardener who knows they cannot force a seed to grow, but can provide the perfect environment for growth to happen effortlessly. This subtle distinction marks the boundary between struggling against reality and dancing with it. What many don't realize about conscious creation is that it's not about perfection, it's about presence. There will be days when old patterns resurface, when reactive emotions cloud your clarity, or when you temporarily forget your creative power. These moments aren't failures, they're valuable feedback that highlight areas needing more of your compassionate attention. The impact of living this way extends far beyond personal satisfaction as you align more deeply with your authentic self and create a life that reflects your highest values. You naturally contribute something essential to our collective experience. Your joy, purpose, and sense of fulfillment become contagious energies that subtly elevate everyone you encounter. This work represents one of the most significant untold truths of human potential, that we are designed to be conscious participants in reality's unfolding, not passive passengers carried along by its currents. Every moment offers a fresh canvas, every challenge presents new colors, and every relationship provides new dimensions for your creative expression. If what I'm sharing resonates with your own experience or intuition about life, write, "I'm awakening to my creative power" in the comments. Your journey of conscious creation is uniquely yours, but there's tremendous value in recognizing and connecting with others walking a similar path. If you've stayed with me through this entire exploration of conscious creation, I want you to know that this conversation doesn't have to end here. This journey of mindfulness, of becoming the author of your experience rather than being written by circumstances, ongoing. If something in this message connected with you today, I'd love to hear about it. Drop "I'm awakening to my creative power" in the comments if you're feeling called to this more intentional way of living. Give this video a like if you found value in our time together. It helps others discover this conversation who might be searching for exactly these insights right now. There's another video right here that explores the practical daily habits that support this conscious way of living. Click through and join me there to continue building on what we've started today. Until next time, remember, you're not just experiencing reality, you're actively creating it.